Hello, hello, hello. How are we all? Well, here we are again, another Thursday night, and very exciting this one because it's a sneaky peek. We all love a sneaky peek, don't we? So if you're here and if you can hear me, please do let me know, and then we can get cracking revealing all these lovely secrets. And I do have some news as well. Hi Sharon, hi Kim, hello Catherine. Is the sound coming through for you? Please say yes. It's very cold here. Hi Yvonne, hi Kathleen, hi Catherine. Oh, that's good, thank you. Let's hope that continues. Jamie and I have been struggling with this issue on and off all week. We think we've sorted it out. Fingers crossed. We've got rid of the gremlins. Yay, brilliant. Oh, this is so good. That does make me feel better. I get quite upset when things go wrong because I don't know how to fix them, so I get very frustrated with myself. Hi Sue, very, very warm welcome to you from New Zealand. Warm welcome to everybody, of course, but it's always lovely to have our long distance friends join us. And it's fabulous that you're able to. I know the timings sometimes don't work for you very well, do they? So thank you so much for making the effort. And hi Charlene from Calgary. Lovely to see you as well. Oh, I'm pleased you've got lovely weather. Very cold here, but it is our winter, so you know it's not a surprise, really. So I hope you're all well. I hope you've had a lovely time over the Christmas and New Year. I know my last couple of weeks haven't gone well, but I think we're back on track now. So I think you're going to enjoy what I've got for you tonight very much. We are showing you, of course, the sneaky peek of Sue Wilson's new collection. Hi Lee from Michigan. Lovely to have you with us. Hi Susan and hi Sue. 8 a.m. Wow. I suppose that's not too uncivilized, is it? So yes, Sue Wilson. This collection is phenomenal. It is going to give you hours of fun. There is huge scope for creativity. I would refer to it as slow crafting, slowing it down a little bit. It's one of those collections that you can curl up on a Sunday afternoon with a lovely cup of coffee, curl up in a nice warm room and just play. I think you're going to enjoy that. Hi Jane, how lovely to have you with us. Hi Francoise, hi Andrew, hi everybody. Oh, Kim. Hey Emma, we've got Spund. Love it. I wish I knew what it was. Kim, that's just not acceptable. I'm sorry. You need to sort your priorities out. Oh no, that's a shame. Hopefully there'll be others that you can get to. I don't know if you've been listening to Jamie's updates. Obviously he did his Monday night natter. My diary is full practically to the end of the year for demonstration days. I think I've 2 spaces left, if I understand it rightly, which is quite exciting but also quite daunting. So yes, I'm up and down the country. I feel like I ought to start doing a show. Have any of you watched Susan Calman's A Grand Day Out? Perhaps we should start doing Gwen Fletcher's Crafty Day Out. That'd be great, wouldn't it? Get us on mainstream TV. What about that? Come on, Jamie. There's an idea. Um, right, so shall we get going then? Shall we have a look at this lovely collection? I think we should. Let me just swap my cameras and hope nothing goes wrong. Fingers crossed. Here we go. So this collection is called simply Windows, and that's because we have this beautiful window die. So there are 8 collections of dies, or 8 sets of dies, and all of the dies are geared towards working with this window. And it's a fantastic concept. I mean, like I say, the scope for creativity is quite unbelievable. So we have 8 dies. Let me talk you through these one at a time. Super detailed and fantastic array of items that you can utilize. So let's start off with the most important one, of course, in the collection, and this is the window. It's a 4-panel window, just in case you couldn't count. It's quite large. It's 4.4 by 5.6 inches, so it's a nice size to go on a 6x4 card, but then you can obviously go bigger, and there is scope to go smaller, and some of our design team have done some really clever things, and I'm going to show you lots of inspiration as we go along. Hi Joyce, glad you found us. Hi Linda. So this is your 4-panel window, and the RRP on this is going to be $15.99. Now these aren't available yet, so don't panic. They haven't been released yet. You can't get them yet. So I'm going to be on Hobby Maker on Sunday, and that will be the launch for this collection. And on the following Tuesday, they will be with your stockists. So that's when you'll be able to get your little mitts on these. So please don't panic by tonight, because no, they are not available just yet. This is a sneaky peek. We like to give you a tease. We like to help you see in advance if there's anything that you think you might like. And I'm sure that there's going to be lots. So 4-panel window and RRP $15.99. Okay, next we have the window dressing. Now you can't have a window, can you, without some lovely window dressing. And here we have this really clever set with 8 dies. Oh, hang on, sorry, I have got boards to show you of all these. So let me do my job properly. Duh, can't get the staff. So here's that lovely window, and all of the dies you'll find do give embossed detail with the one pass through the machine. So cut and emboss at the same time. I don't know if you can see it, but there are lovely lines around this window giving it more of a framed look. So that's really stunning. So that is your 4-panel window. Then we come on to the window dressings. Now this one has 8 dies. Again, a decent size, much larger than you perhaps think at first glance. We have this panel here, which is a shutter. So obviously cut 2 and you've got shutters to go either side of your window. Then you've got the window box, or it could be a garden trough. That's the other thing about these dies. They're very versatile. Hi Sandra, hope you're well, darling. Then we have little flowers, leaves, and other little leaves that you can build your window box up with. And there are others in some of the other sets that you can also utilise. You will find that the dies in these sets crisscross over really, really nicely. So lots of combinations possible, which makes them always much more versatile. So this is your window dressing set, and this one is going to be retailing at $14.99. When we look at that, when it's actually cut out, now you don't get the window is separate, so I've just put it there so you can see how these accessories work with it. So you've got your 2 shutters. It's identical, that's why you've only got one, and just cut 2 and turn one of them round, and it works perfectly. Then here's your lovely window box, and these again, look at all that lovely embossed detail. Absolutely fantastic. And then here are your little floral elements, little leafy things, leafy sprigs, and little daisy type flowers, blossom type flowers, everything you could need to dress up that window. Aren't they great? Really fun. So this is window dressing, $14.99. Moving on to window accessories, or windowsill accessories should I say, and that is this one. So in here we have 11 dies and lots of options for dressing up your windowsill. So the idea of the window is you can use it to look out of, or you can use it to look into. And you'll see as we go through the sets why that's relevant, because obviously you can look at an outside scene through the window, or you can look into the living room from the outside. Really, really clever. Hi Sue! We're always on the Creative Expressions page, so if you struggle to find us, just search Creative Expressions and that's where we are. Okay, hope that helps. So within this we've got our lovely little pussycat. We've got various flower containers or vases and flowers and blossoms, and we've got a coffee mug as well. So 11 dies in this particular set, and this one is going to be retailing at $12.99. And here are those items cut out, and again hopefully you can pick up the detail on these. Now I have only cut them in white, which probably doesn't do them full justice, but the point about these is you can colour these any way you like. You can use watercolour, which as you probably know by now is my colouring medium of choice. You can use pens, alcohol markers, pencils, or you can die cut multiple times and then paper piece to get the effect you want. I've done all sorts of different things that I'll talk you through tonight, of ways to achieve different colours and what have you. So this is your windowsill accessories, a set of 11 dies, and that one is going to retail for $12.99. Okay, hi Sheila. Next we have the living room. Now the living room is fairly essential. This is obviously all sorts of little details that you can dress your living room with, and then you can look through the window into that living room. There is so much scope here to dress your house however you choose. So this one has 13 dies. As you can see, they're quite a bit larger than they appear on the images. Some of these are upside down, so I'm just going to twizzle it. You've got 2 vases, you've got 2 candles, you've got a chandelier, you've got a stack of books, the clock, a picture, a standard lamp, a flower to go in the vases, a table, a lamp, and a rocking chair. I mean, there's everything you could possibly need to dress up your cosy country cottage. So this is the living room, and this one's going to retail for $14.99. There are 13 dies in this set, and when we cut these out you can see there is an immense amount of detail. So the picture, all you've got to do is colour in the landscape that you see there. We've got this fantastic chandelier which lends itself to all sorts of ways of dressing up the lights, adding a glow, adding different lampshades, all sorts of things. Then we have a clock which has got all the numbers embossed, and the clock face and the clock frame. We have this standard lamp, there's your rocking chair, and then the table and all the various things that you might want to stand on the table. So we have a stack of books, the lamp, a couple of flower vases, a couple of candles, and a flower to go in the vases. Aren't they fabulous? So that's one that you would look through the window into the living room. So that's retailing for $14.99. Next we have garden accessories. I love this. It sort of reminds me of a quintessential summer day in an English garden or out in the countryside on your bike. 9 dies in this set. Sandra, don't make resolutions like that. You've no chance. I am an enabler. It's my job. But nobody's twisting your arm up your back, darling. But aren't they great? And yes, you're quite right. And when I start to show you some of the samples, you will realise how versatile these are going to be alongside things you already have. And I know you've got them. I know. All right, so 9 dies in this particular set. So we've got our lovely picket fence, a birdhouse on a stand. Obviously, you can cut the stand off and have a hanging bird cage if you want to put a hanger on the top of it, or just have it standing on something. We've got the kite and some bows to dress its tail. We've got some little tulips and some leaves to go with those, and a little bird, and then this beautiful little bicycle. So this is our garden accessories set, and this is the least expensive of the sets, coming in at £10.99. And when we cut those out, this is what we get. So the bike, the fence, the birdhouse, the bird, the kite and the tails, and then those lovely tulips. I love this because tulips do droop, don't they? Although if you put a copper coin in your water, it makes them stay up a lot longer. So we've got a straight one and a droopy one, and then we've got a droopy leaf and we've got a straight leaf. So you can dress those and pop them into, maybe put them in the vases that were in the living room accessories. There we are. We're already starting to see combinations that are possible. So this one, the garden accessories, 9 dies, and that one is £10.99. So next we have the swing tree. Now, this isn't something I ever did as a kid. I was turning upside down on other sorts of things, but not on a swing in a tree. But anyway, 15 dies in this set, and this obviously has our naked tree, but then you've got your leafy cluster that you can dress the tree with. This can also be a bush. I've seen some fabulous samples where this has been used to create shrubs and bushes and things like that. You've also got this small branch which you can fill out your tree with, or have that as a shrub. And then you've got various grasses, flowers, leaves. You've got the garden rake. We've got a squirrel in this one, and a bird and a nest and some eggs. We have the tyre and its rope to hang it from, so hence the swing tree. So a fabulous garden collection. And obviously this one you're going to be looking out of the window to see what's going on out in the garden and out in the countryside. So 15 dies in here. The swing tree set will set you back £14.99 RRP, but it has so much potential for all sorts of reasons, and I'll talk a bit more about this as we go. So here we go. Again, lots of embossed detail. This little leafy shrub or tree canopy has got little embossed leaves shapes in there, and then you get this little cluster of leaves which you can cut in a separate colour, and then they fit in these little indents if you wanted to add some leaves into that. Lots of detail on all of these little elements, really super. You've got little flowers, you've got a little bit of grass, some more leaves, and a little squirrel who can sit in the tree, and obviously you can put the nest in the tree, etc. And then you've got some little blossoms and things like this. So this is your swing tree, and this is £14.99. Next we have the Christmas scene. This is 15 dies in this set, so lots in this set. Some of them are little extra accessories for dressing up your tree and your fireplace and your wreath. You've got the snowman, you've all sorts of things. I love the fireplace and the flame that you get as well to go inside it. So you can really create a beautiful Christmas living room or an outside Christmas scene. This one's great because you can do inside things and outside things from it, and then decorate to your heart's content. You've even got a carrot nose and some dots for his eyes and his buttons. Just, as I say, attention to detail. You've got parcels, and you've got the ribbons to dress the parcels as well. So you can cut your parcel in one colour, cut your ribbon in another, and mount them together. Easy peasy. Then you've got your stocking to hang on your mantelpiece, candy cane and some stars. It's just fabulous, isn't it? It's absolutely incredible. 15 dies in this set, and this one's going to be $14.99. So let's have a look at these once they've been cut out. So again, oh, what's happened now? It's frozen. Oh, it's come back. Oh, phew. Oh, I wish it wouldn't do this to me. Okay, so we've got the snowman. Look at that little happy chappy. A lovely Christmas tree, and it's got garlands of lights and festoons of tinsel running around it and all sorts. Then we have this lovely wreath, and that could be an autumn wreath. You'll see in a minute. We've got an autumn set coming up. You can turn that into an autumn wreath quite happily. We have bows to dress the fireplace or the tree or the wreath, the flame, and all those little elements that I've already talked about. So 15 dies in the Christmas scene set, retailing at $14.99. Aren't they super? And then lastly, but not least, we have our autumn scene. Look at this. So I'm sure you've realised by now, this collection is going to see you through the whole year. There's something for every season, every occasion, and I think that's incredible to get in one little capsule collection, as they call it in fashion, don't they? Well, we have a capsule collection here from Sue, and it's going to take you through every season. So 19 dies in your autumn set. This one's going to retail again at $14.99, which I think is phenomenal value. And here we've got our apple barrel and all sorts of things that you can fill it with, and it has a handle which you can use or not, which is great. We've got our lovely scarecrow who's going to be sitting in the cornfields, and we've got our ears of corn here. We have sunflowers and sunflower middles, which is great because you can do the middles black and the sunflowers bright orange or yellow, whatever you want to do. We have apples, we have mushrooms, we have acorns, pumpkins, autumn leaves, little leaves to go on the apples. We've even got a little digging shovel and the stem and some leaves for the sunflower. So everything you could possibly need to create a lovely autumn scene outside your window. So let's have a look at these once they've been cut. Here we go. Aren't they great? And again, loads of embossing detail. You could bring that out by rubbing over with an ink or a wax, entirely up to you, or as you can, as I say, colour in with pens or paper piece, depending which bit you're wanting to do. The bucket has a little slit across here, which is great if you want to actually slot things into it. So you can fill it with apples, you could fill it with mushrooms, you can fill it with pumpkins, you could create a market, an autumn market. I think it's brilliant. So there we go. That is our autumn scene for $14.99, containing 19 wonderful dies. Some of them are all in one. So for instance, the tiny little apple leaves and the autumn leaves are in one single die. There are quite a few that are like that. So you can cut them out multiple times to quite quickly create a lot of items. Okay, and don't forget, of course, we have got our lovely bird in the swing tree collection, so we could sit a bird on the scarecrow's hat. So there are going to be lots and lots of ways you can mix and match across these sets, and I think that's why I say it's tremendous fun, and I think you're going to really enjoy using these. So I'm going to start off by showing some samples. These are from Sue Wilson herself, and Sue has used one of her original shadow box dies to create little apertures where you can focus in on some of those elements. So we have things from the garden accessories, we have something from the swing tree, and we have something from the windowsill accessories here. So you can straight away see how these are going to mix and match perfectly. Then we have a lovely card here from Sharon on our design team, and Sharon's chosen to just do a triptych, so 3 panels, bringing in some of Jamie's nesting dies. This is the postage stamp nesting set, and then 3 little sunflowers and some beautiful inking to create a cloudy sky, and then the gorgeous garden fence from the garden accessories set. Isn't that lovely and quite different? So you don't have to always be building a scene or using a window. There is lots of scope to do things other than that. Let me show you another one from Sue Wilson using another shadow box die of hers. And again, mix and match with living room accessories, windowsill accessories. Obviously room for lots of sentiments on these, perfect for new home, all sorts of occasions, so you can choose what to use these for. Bring in a little bit of background paper to create a sort of wallpaper effect. Isn't that lovely? And then here we have one from Ian, and Ian's done a really clever thing here because he's sort of got this panel which gives you the corner of the house, the side of the house. And here we've got the garden. Oh, hi Ian, good timing. So we've got a window in the side of the house looking into the living room. The cat's all comfy up there, and we've got the chandelier. And then outside we've got the garden with these beautiful sunflowers and the fence running right along. So isn't that lovely? So those are ones which show a little bit of a different take on it and a bit more of sort of combination of things. So moving on, I'm going to show you some now which feature the swing tree. Again, these are all from Sue. I have got more samples. I'm not going to show you everything tonight because I'm on telly on Sunday, so we'll be showing lots of samples there. So tonight's just a little taster, a little bit to wet your whistle, and hopefully get you excited about this fabulous collection. So here we've got the swing tree, but obviously it doesn't have to be a swing tree. This is just a lovely green tree with a full canopy using that lovely leafy cluster, and then we've got some shrubs down here as well. The little squirrels making an appearance, some flowers and grass, again a bit of inking with a stencil to create a cloudy sky, and the sun is from one of Sue's older die sets. I can't remember which one, I'm sorry, but some of you might recognise it. And then because we're looking inside, outside, so inside we've got some flowers on the windowsill here, and then another one looking out onto the garden. And I love what she's done here. She's turned the window side on and used what is effectively the windowsill to create the side panels, so you don't notice that it's been joined at all, and it looks really cool, doesn't it, that way on. And then outside we've got the 2 trees, one with the swing on it. We've got some birds, all from this collection, grasses, squirrel, and that little nest with the eggs. Just look at the detail, isn't it super? And just one more from this collection for now, and this is again looking from inside out. We've got some lovely stripy paper creating the wallpaper, looking out onto a sunny cloudy sky, the tree, the swing, the fence, and the kite with those little bows trimming its tail, and bringing in a wordie to bring in a different sentiment. Isn't that lovely? So that's hopefully giving you some ideas of the swing tree. Now let's have a look at the window dressings. I'm probably going to speed up a little bit because I'm taking forever, I know. I do like looking through the samples though. So this is the actual window dressings. So this is going to contain either the shutters or the window box. So thanks, Sharon. So we've got the window frame, we've got the window box, absolutely vibrant with all these beautiful flowers. And what I love about this is, again, bringing in an older stamp from Jane, not that old, but a stamp from a previous collection, from the architectural collection. And this one's the Fairy Tale Castle. This is Sharon as well. Great idea, Sharon, love that. Bit of stenciling to create a cloudy sky. Well, not cloudy, but you know, fluffy clouds in a sunny sky. You know what I mean. But I just love all these vibrant flowers that are filling up that lovely window box. Absolutely gorgeous. Here's another one from Laura, this one, and Laura's utilised a brick wall stencil, and then we've got the window with its shutters looking into that fabulous living room full of flowers, and the little cat quite happy curled up in the sunshine there as well. Another one showing the window box, this time filled with the daisies on the stems and some beautiful little gems, just creating a gorgeous bit of sparkle. And again, a stencil used to create almost like a stone wall. This one's from Laura as well. Then we have a beautiful one from Ian. Again, the window and the shutters. And I love this kind of, I don't know, beachy vibe with the blue wash, like a cottagey kind of vibe, isn't it? I mean, this is the thing, you can create whatever style you want for this house that you're living in. It's like, I remember as a little girl playing with my doll's house. This is what this makes me reminiscent of. Playing with my doll's house, and I used to use, well, I didn't have a doll's house, it used to be a cardboard box, but I would put wallpaper on it, and I would put pictures on the wall, and I'd make little carpets and all sorts of things. So it just took me right back. It was absolutely brilliant. So yeah, so we've got the window and the shutters, we've got the tree and various bits and bobs going on there. And here's a lovely one from Sue. Now Sue's gone to town here and put some curtains in her window. How lovely is that? Absolutely gorgeous. And there's an edge from a die, which I think, if I remember rightly, might have been a Christmas die. It had this lacy edge on it, and she's used it to create this lovely pelmet. And then again, a beautiful window box bursting with spring flowers. Absolutely gorgeous. And some of you might recognise this embossing folder. It was an 8x8 3D embossing folder that we had from Creative Expressions. Sadly no longer available, but if you've got it in your stash, perfect time to fetch it out and use it again and give it a new lease of life. Isn't that just beautiful? Absolutely love it. Right, let's have a look at the window itself. I'm going to whiz through now and just show you these. Oh, I've got a bit mixed up here. Hang on. Right, here's the window using the garden accessories. Here's the window turned on its side, again with garden accessories. In fact, this probably is garden accessories. I think I've got mixed up. Again, the window on its side, and again that lovely embossing folder. It was fabulous, that embossing folder. I can't find mine, which I'm a bit miffed about, but anyway. And then again, the window with the garden accessories. And here's a lovely one from Laura, showing the garden accessories, but using one of the trio aperture dies, the slimline dies, which have been featured recently. I'm not sure if they were in the sale, but no, they've cropped up somewhere recently. So again, if you've got these, perfect for doing these little dioramas of all these gorgeous little bits and bobs. And I love this on the bike. We've got droopy tulips in the little basket on the bike. It's just that attention to detail, isn't it? It's fabulous. All right, so next let's have a look at our autumn scene. I love this one, but then I do love autumn. So we have from Sharon, again using that lovely triple die, creating 3 scenes with sunflowers and apples and that sort of thing. And this one from Laura on a similar vein, but horizontal this time. And we've got a field of corn, and we've got our lovely scarecrow with a little bit of a picket fence, and we've got some sunflowers here, and we've got the sun popping out from the clouds. And it's just gorgeous, isn't it? It's absolutely gorgeous. Then we've got this one from Laura, and Laura's used the window. I love the colours of this. It's just autumnal in all its glory. We've got some of Francois' paper creating the wall, and then we've got this scene outside with shaker elements. Look, all those little pumpkins and things shaking about. Look at that. How lovely is that? I think that's grand. Leaves and pumpkins and mushrooms all going on. Love it. And another one here with a gorgeous wood grain effect. That's from Jamie's Wood Grain Stamp. This one's by Ian. And he, again, has built this beautiful field of sunflowers with pumpkins and your scarecrow. Sorry, Bethan, I know you don't like it, but there we are. Another beautiful one from Sue herself. Basket brimming with apples, sunflowers, and the swing tree there, creating trees that have lost their leaves because it's autumn. And another one from Sue here. Again, we've got our scarecrow. He's in the field protecting the sunflowers, and look at all these leaves down here that have fallen off the tree. They've been raked up with that garden rake. Isn't it lovely? Just makes you smile, doesn't it? And another one from Sue, again using one of those lovely triple aperture dies. And then some of the slimline frames. We've got a barrel full of mushrooms, barrel full of pumpkins, and a barrel full of acorns. How bountiful a harvest is that? I just think it's incredible. All right, so we've had autumn. Let's have a look at Christmas. These are beautiful. Everything's beautiful. Oh, there's the ones I lost. Right, I've got mixed up now. Just hang on a minute. Come on, Fetch, get your backside in gear. Right. Okay. Christmas. This is not the Christmas accessory set, but it is a Christmas scene. Isn't it beautiful? Using the window, and then these were called spangles, and they came from Cosmic Shimmer, which again sadly we don't have access to anymore. But if some of you had them when I launched those on the telly, then again gives you another use for them. I think that's really pretty. So, excuse me. Here we've got, just showing that you can do these on a smallish card. This is an A6-ish size. And we have elements from Jamie's collection with his Santa and his sleigh. Oh, excuse me. We've got the lovely snowman, the stockings, and this is some paper from the paper pad that came out with Rodney and his family. So this one's by Laura. Thank you, Laura. Another one from Laura with snow. These are the snowy sprinkles that Francoise gave us, and we've got a shaker window here, so we've got an absolute blizzard going on out there. And then you can just tap it and the snow falls, and we've got a snowman and we've got a tree. And then this one's from Ian, and Ian has again gone to town with his curtains and his window dressing, and we're looking out onto a snowy sky. We've got the snowman and the Christmas tree, and we've got the wreath up here hanging from the pelmet. Here's another one from Ian, and this one's got that lovely brick wall stencil, embossing folder. We've got snow on the window box and just some pine sprigs in this one, but looking into a cosy fire with the Christmas tree and the wreath, and we've got some pine trees that are from another set of dies as well. And then here's a lovely one from Sharon. I love what you've done here, Sharon. So Sharon's given us this window looking out onto a snowy field. Again, I think these are some of Rodney's papers featuring here, but this one opens up and you can see the whole scene with our little snowman and our lovely tree. And wish you a Merry Christmas. I think that's lovely, and I just think there's so much versatility going on here. I think you're going to have, like I say, hours and hours of fun. Another one using the triple apertures. This one's beautiful. This is from Sue, and she's got some gorgeous paper creating a lovely wallpaper in the back there, and a black gloss window frame, very poosh, and then a window box full of vibrant red flowers, the little snowman out here. We've got sparkle on our stockings. I love the fire, the way she's dressed the fire. Isn't that just gorgeous? So that's our Christmas scene. And then these are some that I should have shown you earlier, which is just a mix of various collections and styles. So this is the window, and this is using the winter scene from Rodney's collection that came out early last year, July I think it was last year. We've got the cabin in the woods, and we've got the trees, and obviously a lovely sky. This one's from Ian, and then we have a lovely one here from Laura, and this is a lovely little card using just the window as the actual card front. Isn't that lovely? And she's got acetate in there, and then we've got our scene of outside as well. So isn't that fab? Here we have one from Laura. I love this. She's taken the crossbar out of the window and created patio doors. How brilliant is that? Absolutely love it. And we're looking out into the garden from this cosy sitting room. And another one from Laura. Laura's on fire. Just looking out of the window to a starry sky. How beautiful is that? And we've got the little cat curled up. We've got a lovely sparkly moon. This has been done with a stencil and some of the glitter paste. Isn't that beautiful? Right, next, because there is a bit more, and then I'm going to show you some tricks and tips if I can get around to it. Okay, so this one's from Ian, and this is a beautiful sitting room we're looking in, and again he's used, I think, a brick wall stencil to emboss this and then inked it. And then we've got beautiful stripy wallpaper, we've got flowers on the wall and on the table, and we've got our little cat. This one again is Ian, and this is his potting shed. So we've now got a window into the potting shed, and in here we've got all sorts of cuttings and flowers going on, all ready for spring, I guess. And here's this lovely one from Sue. We've got the flower vase from the windowsill accessories, and then we've got a gloss white frame this time. Beautiful. I never think to get my gloss white card out, I really should. And then we've got the little cat, we've got a little Christmas scene from a die of Jamie's and Santa going across the moon. Isn't that lovely? So that's our Christmas scene. And then last but not least, we have some from the living room. Of course, this is Ian again, building a beautiful scene. We've got a fabulous brick wall with some vines clambering up it. Gorgeous embossed paper there for the wallpaper. And dressing up the chandelier like that is really super, isn't it? Another one from Ian. This one, I love what you've done here, Ian. He's taken the top half off the window to create a smaller window, and then he's used the panels, I think, that have come out of the window, and part of the window is cut half lengthwise to create the door. How clever is that? I love it. And then we've still got living room dressings going on and shrubs outside the window. Oh, it's just brilliant. Love it. Another one from Laura here. We've got lots of little flowering shrubs, and we've got a fabulous living room to sneak a look at through the window. Another one from Ian. Ian's gone long and tall with this. I can't even get it on my camera. Look. We've got 4 different windows. We've got a high-rise block of flats, I think, going on here. Look at that. And we're looking into 4 different rooms, all with different dressings and curtains and everything. And I love this. I don't know if it's an embossing folder or a stencil, but it's fabulous. Now we have one from Sue. And we've got a lovely stone wall effect here. We've got this window box absolutely full of greenery. Look at that. Lots and lots going on there. And then we've got this fabulous living room. We've got a blind this time up at the top of the window, and then we're looking into the scene. Here's another stunning one from Sue with, again, that lovely stencil. And again, a beautiful window dressing using a border die. How clever is that? So using a border die and then some strips to create the curtains, so it's all blue and beautiful. How fab is that? So, I hope that's wet your whistle. It certainly has mine. I think these are going to be, like I say, such fun to work with, and they're going to give you hours and hours of fun and creativity. So, What are we thinking? Do we like it? I think it's incredible. I think we're going to have some really special examples. Well, we already have. Um, so I've got to take this on telly on Sunday. Yeah, so Sunday I'll be on Hobby Maker, and my show times are 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. with this collection. So if you can join me and tune in for that, that would be wonderful. And yeah, let us know which bits you are your favourites. What are you thinking? Is it one of those cases where you have to have them all? Or are you going to just think, no, I'm just going to get the window and then I can do what I want with it? Or are you going to get the window and one other set? Or which is your favourite? I think because of the potential to cross over between the sets, you need probably 2 or 3 if you can stretch to it at least. But obviously there will be a bundle price, so you know it's always worth looking out for that because the savings are usually quite a lot. So there we are. That is our amazing Sue Wilson Windows collection. And I have heard a little whisper in the wind that there may in the future be additions to this. So keep an eye out for that. It's not a definite. I just heard a rumour. Can't imagine who from. I mean, there's nobody that lets things slip, is there? Right, so have we some news? I have some very exciting news. Are you ready for this? You've been wanting it, you've been asking for it. We aim to please. On Saturday morning at 6 a.m, I think that's our time, so GMT. Jamie. Yes, indeed. Sue's blog is returning. Woohoo! I know you've all been waiting and wanting and begging and asking, and Sue is doing it. Sue is bringing back her blog. 6 a.m. on Saturday morning. So that's the 18th. So on the 17th and 18th, she's going to be doing multiple blog posts to give it a bit of a boost and to announce the return or the relaunch of her blog. So how lucky are we that we're going to have access to that creative brain again? I can't wait. It's so exciting. So, all of those of you who have been asking and begging and pleading, I expect you to be up at 6 o'clock watching. No, I don't. Her original blog is still there, you know, you can still access it. Party Craft, P-A-R-T-I, Craft. Still there, it's been there all along. But obviously just with no new updates. But now there will be. So how wonderful is that? Yay! All right, so other dates for your diary. On the 31st of January, I am off to Sheffield, which for once is not halfway across the country for me. So I'm going to Unicorn Crafts and I'm very excited about that. I'm going to have a full day of demos for them from 10 till 4. If you are in the vicinity, please come and see us. And then join in. There'll be bargains, there'll be show specials, all sorts of things. There we go. We've got the link to Sue's blog for those of you that need it, and it looks like it is still the same title of the blog. I'm not sure if it's going to be in the same spot, but take that link and then you'll be able to find it. Okay. So my other dates, as I say, for demo days are booking up really quickly, which is lovely, and I'm very grateful to all the stockists who've asked me to visit. Keeps my life interesting as well and gets me out and about, which I love. And then as far as future TV dates go, Jamie is on the 31st, so we have a slight clash again, but that doesn't matter because all of what we're doing, you know, if you're live with me in the shop, you'll be able to see it. You can record hobby maker shows if you are with me and you still want to see Jamie, or if you're not coming to see me, obviously you've got the option of watching Jamie on Hobby Maker. And he will be, well, doing something interesting. I can't tell you. I'm not allowed. Hi Michael, yes, I've run through the whole collection. I've run through all the inspiration, and now I'm just chatting. So I will be doing a little bit of techniques and stuff in a minute, so hang about if you've got time. So then into February, the 7th of February, our delicious Françoise is back with a new collection, and hers are doing so well, so I'm sure this new one will be no exception. She is brilliant and I can't wait to see what she's done this time. So that's from Woodwear with Françoise on the 7th of February, and then on the 14th of Feb I'm back again, and I'm not telling you again, can't tell you just yet, but I will be doing a sneak peek, so no worries there. You're very lucky you guys get a sneak peek of all these things. You know, the rest of the world don't, so it's nice to have you with us. Excuse me while I wipe my nose. And it's great to be able to share all this with you. So, alright, so that's me. That's all my news. So now I want to try and show you a little bit of how you can get to grips with these beautiful dies. Okay, so I'm just going to whiz through the 8 sets again because Michael missed them. So I will just quickly show you what they were, Michael. We've got a window, and then we have a window dressing. We have garden accessories. We have windowsill accessories. Sorry, didn't swap my cameras. Whoops. Start again. We have the window. We have... Where's it gone? Oh, I'm all mixed up now. There we go. We have the window dressings, which is the shutter and the window box. We have garden accessories, including the lovely bike. We have the autumn scene with our gorgeous scarecrow. Then we have the swing tree and all the accessories that go with that. We have windowsill accessories for inside your living room. We have the living room and all its accessories. And then we have the Christmas scene and all that goes with that. So those are the 8 sets which are going to become available on Sunday in Hobby Maker for your delectation. Indeed. Sharon, that would be amazing. I will look forward to meeting you and spending a bit of time with you. That will be amazing. Do please introduce yourself so that I know who I'm talking to, because you can see me but I can't see you, so I won't know on the day unless you come and say hello. So please do that. Right, let me just try and organise myself a little here. I am rapidly running out of room, which is nothing unusual. Right, so what I thought I might do is just some bits, really, bits and bobs. I'm going to show you this card. You're welcome, Michael. I hope, I know you didn't get the full run through, but hopefully you got enough to wet your whistle. So this is looking inside through the window into a living room, and I'm going to show you all the little bits that have made up this scene and a few little tricks, bits and pieces that I've used to develop that scene. Okay, now the other good thing about this collection is who of us doesn't have a box of scraps and bits and pieces that we've made, and I found a use for all of it. So now it's even worse because I'm not going to be throwing a thing away. It's just, I don't know. So bits of gold card, bits of the lovely textured paper from Jamie, the Hessian and the crushed velvet, a bit of sprayed card that I just had lying about. This, I'm going to show you how to do this. This is salt painting. All these bits were just things that were lying around, literally scraps. And I thought, right, let's build a scene. and let's make all these lovely little bits and pieces. So I have said bits and pieces all in here, and this is where it gets really fun, because you can create to your heart's content with all sorts that you've got available. So I've already cut out all these bits, but I just wanted to talk you through a few ways of dressing some of these elements up. So I have a shutter, and I have the bottom of the window. Oh, I wonder what I'm going to do with that. I cut myself a table from the lovely textured linen paper, and then decided I didn't like it because it looked the same as everything else. So I went back and cut it out of craft card. And so now I have more of a brown wooden table, but that needs enhancing. So let's start with that. So I'm going to bring in just a distress ink. This is walnut stain, and a sponge applicator. I'm just looking for a bit of paper to work on. Here we go. Right, so I'm just going to go over this to bring out some of the embossed detail and just give it a slightly richer tone without it being sort of a solid colour, because wood's not like that, is it? So I'm not pressing too hard because I don't want to get the ink in all the little grooves. I want the grooves to stand out. So I'm just gently inking around this piece. So this was cut originally from craft card stock. Obviously you could do all sorts of different colours. You could have a painted table, you could have a white table. It's entirely up to you. It's how you're going to dress your living room. Okay, so there's our little table. Now I don't know whether if I hold this up the camera will pick anything up at all. But oops. Maybe. There we are. That's not too bad, is it? You can see all the little grooves and how that inking has really enhanced it. So I've got my table. So what next? I'm going to have a look at my chandelier. So I've cut the chandelier from gold card, but it's a satin gold card, not a mirror card, but you could use mirror card, absolutely. And I've also then cut the 3 shades just from some coconut white, and literally I'm going to snip off the curly bits just at the bottom of each light bowl. Just take your scissors and just follow the contours to get rid of those little extra bits. Just remember what order they were in. Although they all look identical, sometimes there are very slight discrepancies and then they don't fit. Okay, so now I've got my 3 shades, and this is where something like a sticky pickup tool is going to come in really handy for this sort of thing. So I'm going to add the glue to the chandelier rather than trying to add it to the back of these, because that would be a bit tricky. I like to put the glue on the item, the bigger item, and then just place that over its counterpart. And now we have a chandelier with white shades. Then you can just make sure you get those in position so that what's underneath doesn't show. Oh, there's a bit there I should have snipped off. Let me just correct that. Don't want that on there. Okay. And then just try and make sure you've got them directly on top of the one that's underneath so that you don't see the sides of them. And then we've got a posh little chandelier. And there's some lovely detail on this metal bit here. It's really cool. But equally you could make that out of wood, You could make it out of glass, you could do it out of acetate or something frosted. So yeah. Is that for me, Michael? What's been the best collection, creative expressions brought out that I use all the time? Oh my goodness. Do you know, I wouldn't know where to start. It tends to be whatever I'm working with at the time. But I do love the it's not, well, it's Jamie's actually, it's not creative expressions, but I love all his nesting dies. I love the slimline collection, but there isn't one I haven't enjoyed working with. They're all superb, and at the moment it's this one. So yeah, so there we've got our chandelier. Okay, now I've got my rocking chair and I've cut that from the linen textured paper, so that's that. You could add a cushion to that and do it differently. Then I've cut the standard lamp from the gold card, and I've cut the shade from the linen textured paper. So I'm just going to snip off the little piece that is the stem, because we don't want that. So I've just got the shade, and you can see I haven't cut all of the shade on this piece because it doesn't need to be there, but you can if you want. Just put some glue on that bit, and then we can pop the shade over the top so it hides the gold bit. And now we've got our standard lamp with a textured linen shade. See that? It's cool, isn't it? So that's the standard lamp. We're getting there now. Here's the clock. Now the clock does need a bit of bringing out, I feel. I've done it out of craft card again, and I'm going to ink over with some brown ink. So that's just going to help bring out all the detail in there. Alright, and then make sure you got it the right way up. So 12 at the top. There we go. And then in the living room set, there's this little flower on a stem, and I cut one out of black so that I could create some hands for the clock. So I need to find the middle of the clock. That's the first thing. Let me just find my set of dies. Here we are. So I've got a little pen with a very fine point. So I'm going to put the clock back in the die, and then I'm going to, because there's a little hole in the middle helpfully, so I'm just going to put a little dot, and that's going to give me the centre of my clock. Told you I'd had fun with these. I've had a great time. And now I'm going to create some hands for the clock. So I want my second hand to be about that long. Sorry, the minute hand, isn't it, that? And then the second hand, that can be shorter. So one stem gives me both hands for my clock. And then again, I'm going to put the glue on the clock rather than trying to glue those little tiny pieces of card. So I'm just going to do a very fine line from the centre up to the 12 and to the number 2. So it's 2 o'clock in this house, and I'm just sitting down for a nice afternoon of crafting. So we'll get it the right way up. There's my minute hand, and there's my hour hand. Oops. Alright, get off my finger. I mean, it's not critical what time it says, is it? But I was aiming for 2 o'clock, and now they've got stuck together and they're not behaving. Behave. There we go. Right. So now I've got hands on my clock and we've got it telling the time. So we'll just let that dry. Then back to these little flower stems. Some of the flowers, they came from the windowsill accessories set. Let me find that for you. So this is the windowsill accessories, and it's these little flowers here that I've used, and they all come in one die, so they cut all at the same time. And these are what I've cut from this piece of card that I'd sprayed with one of Jamie's Elite Misters. So I just sprayed the card, and then in the more solid patches, that's where I chose to cut the flowers. So I've got all these little blossoms, and some of them will fit over this flower on the stem, but some of them won't. If they don't, and you don't want the green bit to show, then just snip the edge away like I've done there and left just like a little lollipop, and then you won't see the green behind. So let's get some flowers on these. Give me the other one. Okay, and just pop a flower on the stem, and then we've got flowers ready to go in our vase. Now I'll come back to how I've made this vase in a little bit, but it did come from this piece that I've done with salt, and you can see where I've cut it from there. So I ended up with something that looks a little bit like a sort of posh china vase. It's very pretty. And so I'm going to add the flowers into this. So I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to add them to the back. If you vary the height, it'll look better. So I'm just going to put some glue on the back here. You don't need a lot, it'll hold them in place. And then let's get our middle one down first. Oops. Put little angles on them so they're a bit more interesting and they're not just rigidly upright. And as I say, vary the height if you can a little bit. Oops. And then here's another one. And then just check that you haven't got that coming out the side instead of the top, which I have. Let's just tweak that a little bit. We'll swap that one to the front. There we are. So now we have a little vase full of flowers, and I'm going to bring that one in front of that one. That's better. Okay, and then just leave that and let that glue dry. So there are two little vases in this set. This is the larger one of the two. Okay, so we'll leave that to dry, let the glue go off. So I don't need these extra blossoms, but I've got them for something else. Where's my little pot? There we go. Alright, and then I've got the set of books, and again I'm going to colour this with walnut stain distress ink, and these have got lovely detail on them. They've got little marks in the spine that could be the titles, and the one underneath has got pages that you can see, and it's got a little bookmark. It's really quite intriguing when you start looking at these. So just give that some shade. I wanted these to look like a stack of old leather books, and I could have added a satin varnish over that, that would have done it, but I decided to use Jamie's metallic wax. And I've got the copper pot. I'm just going to gently add that over the top to give these books a really nice lustre, and I think that really brings them to life. So that's our little books. You can see what I mean about having a beautiful relaxing afternoon creating all these gorgeous little elements. Look at that now, our little stack of books. Did you see anything on that? It's not great. I know the camera's not picking it up brilliantly, but look, it is there. Okay. So let those just firm up as well. And then what else have I got here? Oh yeah, let's have a look at this. Oh no, I need me big scissors or a paper trimmer. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to trim along this bottom line. I've got a line I can follow because it's embossed into the design, and I'm cutting that windowsill right off. And I want this for my skirting board. So that's why I've done that. Then I have a piece of the crushed velvet paper, which is going to make the carpet. So if I bring in the window now, and I've got a piece of gingham paper, and I will have this paper pad available on Sunday, should you want to have it. So I've cut that to size to fit behind the window. So the way I found it easiest to work with these was to make the scene first, and then build the card around it. But it really depends what you want your scene to be, I suppose. You could do it that way, or you could do it, decide whether you're going to have a wall or a garden or whatever sort of thing you're going to have outside. So I decided I wanted carpet on the floor. So that's going to go there. And then my skirting board, like so. Obviously trim the sides off once you've got it where you want it. And that just gave it a little bit more of a realistic perspective, if you like, when you're looking into a room. Okay, so we've got carpet and we've got a skirting board now. And get rid of these bits. And then you start to build your scene. Okay, so once you've got that where you want it, stick it down. And then we can start to add in all these accessories. So my rocking chair and my standard lamp want to sit on the carpet, so that's going to go just there, and the rocking horse slightly lower down, so it's sitting on the carpet like that. The table is also going to sit on the carpet, so that's going to go something like that. You might need to adjust these, you see, when you put your window. You might not be able to see the different elements. So I would just lay them out first, decide how you want them, and then go back and stick them. So I'm going to have my books on the table. I'm also going to have my vase of flowers on the table. And I'm going to have my chandelier to one side, because this isn't the middle of the room necessarily, but that's where the window is. And then we're going to have the clock on the wall up there. Alright, and that's our room scene set. Now I decided I wanted a radiator, because being British, we have cold weather, don't we? And we all have radiators. So this is why I had one of the shutters cut. So I've cut one panel off the shutter, and I've shortened it, and I've reduced the width, and then on the top two corners I've literally just taken a sanding block and just rounded the corner off a little bit, just so it looks a bit more finished. And this is what I mean about these dies being so versatile. There's so many things you can do with them. Lots of snippability, as we like to say. So now I've got my radiator, and I can make this room warm. So let's pop this on the wall at the back of this room. So I've got my skirting board and I've got my radiator. Okay, and then we can pop these elements back in again. So standard lamp, chair, table, and all the other bits and pieces. And then you pop your frame on top, and then you decide where you want your card to go. So I've got this beautiful Creative Expressions Foundations cardstock. I think this one's called Cement. It's a lovely, almost like a putty colour, which I thought was perfect for a stone wall. Now, I didn't have a brick wall stencil and I couldn't find my brick wall embossing folder, so that was annoying, but I found the splatter stencil from the autumn collection and I thought, ooh, that looks a bit like Pebble Dash or like a cob wall or something like that. So I've embossed just the front half. I've cut a 7x5 card and I've embossed the front half with the stencil with a rubber mat. And then I'm going to pop my room scene onto the front of that, and now we're looking outside into that lovely living room. Isn't that great? And there's the finished example with all its bits and pieces in place and stuck down. I didn't think you needed to watch me do that because it is a bit fiddly, but I really had fun doing that. As I say, it took me back to my childhood and dressing up my doll's house on my cardboard boxes because we weren't posh. I didn't have a doll's house. So I hope that's given you a little bit of insight as to how brilliant this collection is and how much fun it's going to give you. As I say, I would refer to it as slow crafting. It's one of those things that you just sit down in an afternoon or an evening and just lose yourself in creating all these gorgeous little details. I think it's going to be really good fun for you. Alright, so that's one. Now I wanted to show you, I promised I would show you the salt technique, so I'm going to do that. Now this is actually part of what I should have done when my last live didn't happen, so again apologies for that, but these things happen, don't they? So what have I done? I've got my palette and I'm going to be using some of the Crafty Concoctions inks. So I've got the Chroma Lab Molecular Rose, which is the one I want to use because I want to create, I had this idea in my head that I wanted to create a cherry blossom tree, and it was because I'd done this with the salt for a snowy scene, and this was using the cobalt compound, which is one of the blues, and then some salt to create a snowy scene. And I thought, if that was pink, it would look like cherry blossom, or it might look like cherry blossom. So that's what I'm going to do. Alright, so I've got some water. I have a spray, and I'm going to spray my card both front and back, just to keep it flat. We talk about this all the time, don't we? To stop your card bowing. Look, if you only spray it on one side, straight away it starts to curl. But if you spray it on both sides, I'm just going to do it away from all my equipment, then it stays flat. And then when you're painting it and you're dropping things onto it, it doesn't all run off the sides. That's the point of it, and it's a good point. Alright, so Molecular Rose, water-based, very concentrated ink, quite gloopy in texture, not like other inks that you might have come across before. It does have some different qualities, but I'm having great fun experimenting with these. So I'm going to mix this down with water, and I can see that's perfect cherry blossom colour, if a little vibrant. So by adding more water it will tone it down, and I'm just going to cover this piece of card with this gorgeous pink. Now I'm going to need a little bit more, I haven't got quite enough there. And then I'll show you the magic. Right, let's try again. There we go. I've done this on plain smooth white card. This is the Polar White from Jamie Rogers Crafts. I've also done this on watercolour card, and both work really well, although you do get different results. It's one of those things you just have to experiment with. Don't have it too wet, don't use too much salt. You know, I could say all these things, but until you actually do it, you need to sort of have a go, and then you'll get a feel for it, and you'll have a little bit better idea. So I'm going to be using fine table salt. You can also use flakes. Flakes are quite big and give a very different result. You can see they're quite large chunks. You can use a mixture of the two. In fact, I'm going to put some bits of that on here. Just sprinkle it across as soon as it's stuck to my hand. You can also use rock salt. Rock salt is the real chunky monkey. So great big granules, and that will give you much bigger effect. Like, I just wanted really small little explosions of colour. So I'm going to take the fine salt. I can't get this flap open, it's really tight. I'm just going to put a little bit into my palette. You do have to be quite careful when you're sprinkling, because if you did it straight out the container you'd have way too much. And then I'm using a little spatula and I'm just going to tap this onto my card. It's at this point that you will know if you've got it wet enough or not wet enough, because it won't react. But you do, once you've done this, you just have to leave it. And what the salt does, it draws up the colour from the panel and leaves this lovely white patterning that you've seen on the blue piece, and then you can decide then what you want to do with it. But you can get really fantastic results with salt painting. I absolutely love it, and I have been experimenting a lot, and you would have seen it if my lights had gone ahead. But we'll save that for another day, because one of the other plans we've got is for me to do a playtime once every 4 weeks or so, for you to get your questions in, something that you may be struggling with, or something that you don't understand, or something that you want to know how to do. Keep it relevant, please, to our products. That's the only proviso. Don't just come in with random stuff that we can't help you with. But yeah, we'll do our best. Now, you can already start to see there's a reaction going on here. It's not much at first, but it will develop, and you do just have to leave it. I would just leave it overnight. Don't be in a hurry. And then when you come back to it and you've brushed all the salt off, look what's happened. Isn't that amazing? So these can create fantastic backgrounds, and you can add over the top of that with more stenciling or stamping or die cutting, or you can die cut out of this. And that's what I wanted to do, to create a cherry blossom tree. So I have used the swing tree. I'll just find it for you. It'll be the last one I come to. Oh, where's it gone? Here we are. So I've used the swing tree, the blank stem, and I've cut that out to some very, very dark brown cardstock. And then this leafy canopy, I have cut it 5 times from my piece of salt card. And I've also cut another flower vase, which I'll show you that in a minute as well. So 5 canopies out of that piece of salt, and that was a piece of scrap card actually that was cut from something else, and I just used it for this reason. So that's my my salt, and then I've added those canopies or flower clusters or whatever you call them on the top of a tree in a sort of irregular fashion, because cherry blossom trees are irregular, aren't they? And I hope you can see that, but it's got this amazing pattern, and I've just done it all sort of irregular, all off to one side, because that's what they like, aren't they, cherry blossoms? So there's my 5 clusters. I've left a little bit of the stem showing, and you can see on the back where it's all stuck down. But now I have a cherry blossom tree that I can put outside the window. I don't know what else the scene's going to have in it yet. I haven't got that far. Maybe just a sunny sky and a kite and a little bird or something like that. I don't know. But I'm really, really pleased with my cherry blossom tree. I'm easily pleased. So imagine how many different trees you could make with that swing tree. And that's what I absolutely love about these products. The versatility is phenomenal. Okay, so that's one little thing. Now then, if I can find all my other bits and pieces, let me see. Here we are. there's my, no, I'll show you that in a minute, hang on. I want to show you these first. I've lost some bits somewhere along the way. There we go. Right, so these flowers have come from this set. So this is the windowsill accessories. So you've got the vases and the plants and the flowers. You've got stem flowers, tulips and roses. We've got the cat, the coffee cup. So I've used I'm going to look at the rose first. Okay. So what I've done, I've cut the rose out of green, and I've lost one of mine. Of course I have. Anyway, cut it out of green card, and then cut just the head out of red. And then what you do is, well, what I've done is just cut the edge off the flower, and then you've got just the head in red, and you can snip off any little stem that you don't want there, which is really easy to do, it's really obvious. And then you stick that over the green bit and create your rose. So I've made 3 beautiful red roses there. And then this vase, which is this one here, I've cut from black gloss card. Isn't that stunning? So it looks like black pottery. And it's got this lovely detail on it, which the black gloss card has really picked up on. So I was really pleased with that. And then all I need to do is arrange my roses inside my vase. And we have a beautiful bunch of roses. So I can do like I did before, put the glue on the back of the vase and attach the flowers. But there you've already got a little accessory. And you may be somebody that likes to sit and do this. You might make all your little accessories and play with things like this and create your flowers, create your vases. And then they're ready to go when you want to put your room scene together, aren't they? So I've had fun doing this, building up these different little flowers and things like that. So that's one idea. And then also on this set, we've got these lovely tulips. We've got a straight one and 2 that are bending out in opposite directions. And I decided I wanted to use the salt card that I'd made to create a beautiful vase and then fill it with tulips. So again, I've cut the whole tulip in green and then just the head in pink. And the only thing I would say is if you do this, make sure you've got the right head, because they are different and so they don't match up if you get them mixed up. But it's easy, if you leave a little bit of stem, you can tell which one's which. So again, just cut off the stem so you're left with just the head. And then put your glue onto the underneath one, because you've got something to hang on to, so it makes it easier. Okay. Oops. And then just pick up your head and pop it on top. And then just make sure you've got that in the right place. So I've got it a little bit low, so you can wiggle it. That's the beauty of Jamie's glue. I'm using the Jamie Rogers clear drying glue, and it's lovely because you've got the wiggle room. When you're doing something like this, you might need to just be able to adjust your position a little bit, so it's great for that. Then once you're happy with it, just set it to one side to dry and leave it till you're ready to assemble. And then what I've done is different coloured tulips and my salt glazed vase. I'm just a child, really. I love it. Look at that. I mean, how else are you going to create a vase like that? You're just not, are you? You can make it shiny if you wanted to, put a glaze over it. Just don't overwork it, because this is water-based, it would still move. So just a quick coat if you wanted to put a shiny glaze on it. But isn't that lovely? So now I've got 2 flower vases ready to go for when I'm ready to build another living room or whatever. So yeah, good fun, great times. I love it. All right. I have some questions. What is your pickup tool called and where is it from, please? Oh, heck. Well, it is a woodware one. I will show it you. It's the Woodware Easy Pick, but as yet we haven't been able to get the woodware tools back on board. I will be absolutely certain that Jamie will let you know as soon as, or if that is possible, or if we have found another source for things like that. So just bear with us while we can't do everything all in one day. As they say, Rome wasn't built in a day. So we are looking into things like that. It's essential stuff that we all need. But yeah, just bear with us while we track these things down and get them in the process. Okay. So I hope you've enjoyed that little sneaky peek, and I hope it's wet your whistle for Sunday's shows and for this wonderful collection. I had great fun and I'm still having great fun. Yes, Laura, it is fantastic, and I, like I say, I had got a whole series of things ready to show, and I will be doing it at some point. I'll catch up with what we missed, so you won't miss anything. Because it's amazing and it's so easy, with just a few tips. So it's about the amount of water, it's about the type of salt. Yes, you can put your salt in a grinder and grind it to get different size flakes. You can mix the different size flakes. So it's a great technique and it's great for creating all sorts of effects. But I just had this idea in my head of cherry blossom, and I'm so chuffed that it worked. And now I've got my fabulous cherry blossom tree and a vase as a bonus as well. So I was really happy, Bunny. Well, I'm going to call it a night for you there. Thank you so much, as always, for joining me and for persevering through our little tricky bits. And I look forward to seeing you on Sunday. Jamie will be back on Monday with his live, and I'll be back next Thursday with a new one. So take care, as always. Take care of each other. Lots of love.